Aloha, y'all. It is Thursday, named after Thor. Thursday, the 14th of April. April is just ripping by. I don't know about y'all, but it is going by quickly for me. So, the sun is at 24 degrees 31 minutes Aries. The moon is at 25 degrees Virgo. Mercury is at 6 degrees 50 minutes Taurus. Venus is at 9 degrees 37 minutes Pisces. Mars is at 29 degrees 31 Aquarius, just about to pop out of Aquarius. Jupiter is at 24 degrees Pisces. Saturn is at 23 degrees Aquarius. Uranus is at 13 degrees Taurus. Neptune is at 24 degrees Pisces. Pluto is at 28 degrees Capricorn, and the North Node is at 22 degrees Taurus in retrograde. There's actually a grand Earth trine going on. What's up, Haley? Grand Earth trine going on right now between Pluto in Capricorn, the moon in Virgo, and I believe Uranus in Taurus and Mercury, but I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that's right. So, it is an Anahata Chakra Day, Heart Chakra Day. Hopefully you get into your heart and really feel this. The middle of the chest is where it is, located obviously near your heart. It's kind of with the thymus gland, right? So positive aspects are compassion, generosity, harmony and balance, and loving kindness. Negative aspects are indifference, jealousy, miserliness, and bitterness. The mantra is YAM, Y-A-M, YAM, right? And you do that in the key of F. Spiritual activities include learning to love yourself first. And that's an interesting point of conversation, because what does that mean in a narcissistic, self-absorbed society? What does that actually mean? Learning to love yourself first, praying, healing, and singing. Essential oils are rose, carnation, and lily of the valley. The plants are foxglove, rose, carnations, and lilies. Metal is both copper and gold. The element is air. The musical note is F, like I said. And the crystals are rose quartz, diamond, and peridot, with the soul lesson being brotherhood and love. Like universal love, right? So let's go ahead and get some cards for the day. Hopefully y'all are doing all right. We did not have a podcast yesterday with the Peace Dealer because I had to do some stuff. I'm going to have to reschedule that, unfortunately. But it is what it is. The power of lowliness, know thyself. Yes. Well, it's tricky because in the sense the loneliness is an illusion, and yet at the same time, we're born alone and we die. We're born alone and we die alone, and we kind of have to be ourselves and on our own in a certain kind of spiritual sense. So I totally hear you. But we got the Prince of Pentacles, or the Knight of Pentacles in typical decks. If you're a Pentacle, you'd be a Taurus, and hey, there is a Grand Earth trine, like I was saying. You'd be a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. So let's go ahead and talk about the Prince or Knight in typical decks, the Knight of Pentacles. And it is very apt with this Grand Earth trine. So this is the fiery part, like the tenacious, impetuous, impulsive, action-oriented, egocentric, kind of spirited part of Earth. Your material things, your physical wealth, your physical body, the things you own. It says, map out your plan for the phases of your life's adventure. Develop systems to keep your passion intact. Develop patience. Enjoy the journey you are on. With the moon at the last degrees of Virgo, trining Pluto in Capricorn, and Uranus and Mercury in Taurus, we really have the ability to call forth what we want in this world, in this life, right? With the things that we have, with the money that we have, with the resources we have, with this, in an abstract way, skill sets you have that you market or whatever, like what do you do for a job, what do you do for income, that kind of thing. So with it being an Anahata Chakra Day, we need to come from our hearts, right? There's a Thor's Day, like come with that electric power, Uranus and Taurus, but we need to be really plotting our adventure, right? When you look at a beautiful kind of forest, I know I've seen memes and stuff, it's like this was a desert and somebody planted a bunch of trees and now it's a forest. It's like that took effort, planning, right? So the fire of passion and planning, but also like the tenacity of crossing your T's, dotting your I's. Moon in Virgo, Pluto in Capricorn, changing the world, transforming the world. Uranus in Taurus, Doing things for radical values, North Node and Taurus. Like, what do you like? What do you love? Move towards that. So, developing patience and enjoying the journey you're on, right? We're here to be here. As the great dream on Instagram was saying, know thyself, and we need to know what makes us tick. We need to know what our mission is. There's many missions. There's many chapters to a book. It's not just one sentence, but sometimes there's a few bullet points that kind of come out for that text, right? So we need to be tapping into that level of our actionability in the world, right? Aries, Sun, Moon, and Virgo. I consistently create my empire. This youthful Prince of Pentacles has the powerful and exacting combination of dynamic, forceful fire, right? Aries, Sun, epitomized by the wild adventurer, mixed with the trusted stability, solidity, and rootedness of Earth, North Node and Taurus, Moon and Virgo. Exact energetic opposites to one another, these elements invite ongoing tension. He must work hard to balance and master them within himself as he heads out to discover and conquer the world. As a young prince, it is his duty to expand knowledge, resources, and boundaries, whilst also defending already acquired territories. The fiery part of his nature, it's kind of like chess. I don't play chess, but it's like you're trying to go into the enemy territory, the outer world, and progress while still defending your queen and keeping your shit straight at home, so to speak. The fiery part of his nature sees tremendous excitement and opportunity, Uranus and Taurus, right? We have the ability to really tap into a new life. You could be, which Christopher Ortechi's been saying a lot lately, the life you were born to is dead, dying and dead. The life you were, so what you were born into, this is now the life that you're manifesting and calling. I forget the exact words off the top of my head that he was saying. The life that you're called to now. It's a different kind of reality. He sees magic and alchemy as possible everywhere. Jupiter conjuncts Neptune and Venus in Pisces. He sees that magic and alchemy is possible everywhere if he acts quickly, but he must marry this confidence and zest for life with the down-to-earth, pragmatic side of himself, Virgo Moon. If he's successful, he can accomplish a great deal. He's seen here sitting on the back of his horse, a beautiful, intricately engineered animatronic. This artful expression is an incredible beast, a force of nature combined with the ingenuity of the human being. The power of the horse, a universal symbol of freedom without restraint when tamed, transformed people's mobility, freedom, and working lives. Its stance, poised like some great exhibit, symbolizes the transition between serfdom and the industrial age, the inanimate carrying the spirit of life. This appreciation of technological innovation is reminiscent of Prince Albert's vision to create the Great Exhibition in 1851. He had a vision to create something in the world, North Node and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus was a radical kind of situation. Pluto and Capricorn, it changed the world. The first international exhibition, so that's the Earth trine, right? The first international exhibition of manufactured products was enormously influential in society's development, including art and design, education, international trade, and relations. The profits of the exhibition went on to fund the world-renowned science, natural history, and Victoria and Albert museums, which continued to inspire admiration and ingenuity in minds young and old. And with the Moon in Virgo, it is about inspiring the mind, the practical side of your mind. Virgo is co-ruled, well, it depends on who you talk to. Some people say it's ruled by Earth and all sorts of stuff, but Mercury ruled. So we have the ability to really tap into the rhythm of creating a real dream in the world, right? The power of the pentacle is transmitted through loudspeaker sound technology. First invented in the 1920s, it plays the sound of the Starman. The Prince of Pentacles suggests it would be prudent to map out your strategy for the next phase of your life adventure. Details, right? It's all about mapping it out and writing it down and kind of putting the T's and crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and maybe having a few, like a few month plans. It's like, okay, here's three paths I can go on. Tick, tick, tick. And then here's a month. Here's 6 months. Here's a year. Here's 3 years. See what I mean? That's what we need to be doing today. And doing it from a place of what inspires our hearts, Anahata chakra, not just what makes sense. It's got to make, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, right? Is this kind of saying. And that with the grand earth trine, there's a level of truth to that. But if it's not coming with a level of zeal, passion, and enthusiasm and real joy, Aries Sun kind of desire to go for it, it won't matter. If you don't love it, it won't matter. The challenge is to discover practices that will keep your passion burning brightly, your heart chakra, and develop some form of patience, very Moon in Virgo. Slow and steady wins the race. Focusing on tangible actions, Time frames and accounting for resources will take you masterfully towards your vision, right? And I'm hearing this. I've got to start making my moves, and I've started looking at like work away, or I think it's like a work stay thing. And there's a lot of opportunities all over the world for that, which might be fun. You know, homeschooling kids and doing all sorts of stuff. So it's not so much physical labor, but then it's like, you know, what am I doing? So Prince of Pentacles, the fiery part of Earth, right? This tenacious part of practicality, mapping out the plan, mapping out your plan for the phases of your life's adventure, developing systems to keep your passions intact, developing patience, and enjoying the journey you're on. So it's both and. Develop the patience, be like, all right, this too shall pass. Not every day is summer. It's sometimes winter. Sometimes you got to like work to get the harvest. But also be like, I really love, like I've realized how much I love mangoes here. It's like, I really love mangoes. So I'm going to plant a mango tree, and then eventually I'll have a steady income of, or source of mangoes. But until then, I need to keep, saving money and dividing it, between buying mangoes and planting new mangoes. So it's an example, but the Prince of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles essentially, is telling us to move forward in our journey through the heart in the world and not to avoid the world. This isn't about sitting, I mean, it might be tempting very much right now to, sit in the ashram and just chant for hours and expect to win the lottery or whatever. But it's like, I'm not saying that won't happen, and it could very well happen, but it's not going to happen for everybody, right? So we've got the Temperance card as the clarifier, right? It's about ultimate balance, and it was talking about the earth and the fire being opposites that balance. This is about the ultimate kind of quadrivium of the elements, earth, wind, fire, water, right? Where they're like, and creating a cross section of perfect balance. So let's just read about this right quick. And this is a sea nymph with the Jupiter and Neptune conjunct, Venus and Pisces. This is a very much Venus coming out of the oceans image. I am astonished by the beauty of life in all of its facets. Temperance card is seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, right? With Uranus in Taurus and the North Node in Taurus, like radically seeing the value of things, revolutionizing the value of things in the world. Trining Pluto and Capricorn, changing the world from the ground up, from the bones up. Also trining the moon in Virgo. It's about the mundane becoming magical. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god, I ate a 10 strip of acid and now I'm like talking to fucking Arcturians or whatever. That's cool that frequency in reality can exist at times, but you don't dwell there. You also have to like, eat your food and balance your kingdom. It's like you have to have passion, right? The Knight of Pentacles with the Anahata chakra, you have to have a heart for it, but in a sense, it's got to be coming from a balanced place. It can't just be all noise and fury signifying nothing, as Shakespeare would said. It's got to kind of have a rhythm and a cohesion to it. So seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, exquisite balance, a period of rebirth, slow down and view the world with fresh magical perspective and trust your intuition. That would be the positive side of the Neptune-Jupiter conjunct. We have an intuition on fire right now. Doesn't mean everything we see is delusional. We have to practically take these dreams forward. You have 8 ideas. 5 of them are good. 2 of them are 3 of them are terrible. My math was bad right then. 8 ideas. All right, we'll just make it 10 because that's the easy number. 10 ideas. 8 are good. 2 are bad. 5 are reasonable. 2 are like extremely like magical good ideas, but like, who knows if they'll happen. They're still good ideas. And then you get to what's practical. See what I mean? Start winnowing down. So that's what we need to be doing. See all these kind of bifurcations behind them? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in the kingdom. And it's like, well, do I go be a postal worker? Do I go farm? Do I go be a stripper? These are all things to get money, and they're all practical, but like, okay, stripping is going to cause you to have emotional kind of attachments and maybe projections and all sorts of weird sexual energy. Being a postal worker is fine, but if you're dyslexic, it's going to be hard to like sort the mail quickly well. And I forgot what I said the other one is. But being a farmer, it's like, oh, I love this, but I have a bad back. So bending over all day really isn't the best, right? So we need to find a tempered vision of how we want to act in the world, coming from the heart, what we love, in body, right? This isn't just about like, oh, one day the aliens will come and take me away, or oh my gosh, the angels will come and feed me manna from on high, or whatever, right? Like, that's cool. That exists. Magic exists. Temperance is the Sagittarius card. Highest fire. The highest magic does exist. But we need to take that fire and put it in a kind of a candle holder and run through life itself, the Tao, reality, right? Take our dreams and visions forward, not just kind of like pipe dream it. And trust me, as someone who's a Gemini sun and moon with Jupiter in Aquarius and Mars and Mercury in 12th house, Cancer, I've been pipe dreaming my whole life. So now it's time to move forward practically, and this can look in all sorts of phases. Sometimes it looks very practical, like starting a business or getting a degree. Sometimes it's just like, hey, get in shape. Hey, show up to a social function and start being part of your community, because no man is an island. But ultimately, it's all about balance. It's about balance of the head and heart. It's coming from the heart. Have great ideas and dream big, but like make it so. Don't just like lay on your deathbed and be like, man, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. As my fiance tells me, coulda, shoulda, woulda are the words of a fool. But we also have to be kind of lenient on ourselves with this grand earth trine going on right now. We can be a little stodgy and stiff. We need the practicality, right? We need the temperance. The grand earth trine is really balancing out that Venus, almost Mars in Pisces, Jupiter, Neptune conjunction in Pisces. We need to be making these, it's like great to have a poster of your favorite band on your wall and you want to go see them in concert. Well, did you earn the money to go see them? That's the balanced thing, right? Are you going to just like, give up your life and go be a Grateful Dead tour kid? Or are you going to have a job and do that on weekends? See what I mean? It's like, you can have the dream, but bring it in. And I guess what I was saying is with the Jupiter-Neptune conjunct, we still want to dream big. So when we say coulda, woulda, shoulda are the words of a fool, we are all the fool entering and exiting life through the heart of possibility. But it's not just, you don't just want to sit there overwhelmed with the infinite number of possibilities. You want to be actionable towards a direction, making a plan for your life. So it's a balancing of that Jupiter, Neptune, in heart, kind of dreamy energy. Oh, anything's possible with the like, what am I doing today? What are the next steps? Where does this lead? How does it pay off? Oh wow, we got equality, which I'm saying both and. Temperance, guys, you can't make this up, right? This is why I love pulling cards. Temperance, right? This ultimate what? Balance, this ultimate equality. And there's the sea nymph, right? And she's kind of like a sea nymph herself, but she's kind of dealing with being, it talks about chariots being drawn instead of horses, they're seahorses. There's a horse. Horses are coming up in various forms today for sure. So, equality, number 14, the seahorse. And that is one of the things about a trine, is like this equal energy kind of being dispersed throughout, triangulating, right, through the zodiac. So we have the energy to revolutionize our ideals, North Node in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, but we have to be practical about it, Moon in Virgo, and it's got to be something that we haven't done before the same way necessarily, right? So it's this weird temperance, this weird balance between trying new things, but also using what works, right? Using what you already have done in your kingdom, and then moving forward with that in new and inventive ways. A fractal starts off, has a few patterns, and it repeats some of those, and then does not repeat them at all, and it creates this kind of elaborate thing. And we're fractalic in holographic nature. So, seahorse, equality, seeking equality in relationships, in particular intimate ones. You will attract what you resonate. So that's why we have to really be careful that we're moving towards things that we love, heart, because if you find that you're like, man, I hate my life, I hate this, I hate that, it's like, you're not doing what you love. Now, does that mean all the time it's just sugars and plum fairies and, everybody's, on ecstasy having a lot of fun? No. But you do want to go towards that which you're appreciative of, that which brings you value, North Node and Taurus, that which what you're, you love to act towards, Sun and Aries. Like, what do you like to do? You will attract what you resonate. You can decide your future, right? This is plotting out the future. You can make exceptions and be like, all right, well, if I have credit, I can do this. And if I have a degree, I can do that. And if I have a little money, I can do this. And if I'm on food stamps, I can do that, right? But it's still plotting it out in a tempered way, right? In a way that's balanced, not just like, well, I'm going to win the lottery. It's like, maybe so, maybe not, right? But you got to have plans besides just the big dreams. Don't not dream. That's a double negative, I know. Still dream from your heart, Jupiter conjunct Neptune, Venus in Pisces, right? Where it's like, dream big, but one step in front of the other. If you want to win the lottery, you got to buy the ticket. You got to have these numbers that you really think are going to win. You got to know what to do when you do win. You got to, see what I mean? I mean, that's a weird example, but you can decide your future. Hiding from our fears is rarely a good strategy. South Node in Scorpio, we don't want to be hiding in our fears, right? North Node in Taurus, we want to be going out and planting things. Maybe you plant 10 seeds and only 5 of them survive. That's okay. At least you did something, right? At least you took the effort and made it go forward in a beautiful and tempered way, as opposed to just sitting there biting your nails or being bitter and saying, oh my God, it's not working for me. Why? We have to work ourselves. God helps those who help themselves, right? Hiding from our fears is rarely a good strategy. It is time to ensure that the domestic and emotional labor in your world is shared equally. Mythos. It is said that the beautiful sea nymph Salacia was happy and content, and that she kept a sea garden of beautiful corals and seahorses. She was Jupiter conjunct Neptune and Pisces, Venus and Pisces. She was happy and content, not even really working. The king of all the seas, the great Neptune, saw her one day and set his heart upon her, wanting her for his wife. Salacia was chaste and inexperienced and feared Neptune. She was afraid that he would take her away from all she loved, or worse, so she hid from him in one of the furthest oceans, Moon in Virgo, right? She went into her hermit cave and disappeared, and he had to chase her down, Aries' sun. Neptune, he didn't, but he sent out his people. Neptune meant no harm or disrespect to Salacia and searched for her, sending his favorite dolphin to look. Took a team, Mars and Aquarius, last degrees. Saturn in Aquarius, right? The job took effort with multiple people. The dolphin found Salacia and her seahorses, and they explained her fears to him. The dolphin assured them that they would be happy with Neptune, and Salacia would not lose the thing she most loved, right? The thing she most held dear to her heart. Because we don't want to lose our heart. And that's what she ran away from. She was afraid she didn't have a plan. She didn't do it in a tempered way. She just kind of bolted Aries' sun. She just acted. But if she had a few plans and like, okay, well, if I get married, I have these prenuptial agreements and all this, that, and the other, she could have stayed in the situation and not been acting in fear. So she consented to the marriage, and Neptune loved and honored her. She wore pearls in her hair and rode a pearl chariot drawn by seahorses and dolphins to signify equal union. The animal, if you've ever seen a seahorse in the flesh, you will attest to how wondrous these animals are. Very Uranus and Taurus, radical little creatures of the earth. Swimming upright, this bony fish without scales has a distinctive horse-shaped head and a tail. They wrap around sea vegetation. They are very beautiful and can appear in a variety of colors. And once again, with the earth trine, it's like it wraps its tail around sea vegetation. Yes, it's in the water, but it's still being grounded. It's not just like floating around in, like a jellyfish. The range in size from 1.5 centimeters to a more robust 14 centimeters, but all move in supremely delicate ways. Most have a propulsion system made up of rapidly oscillating fins, including the dorsal fin, and they often float with the current to get them place to place. So they do kind of still go with the flow to a point. I mean, when they want to latch in and they have a plan, but they're also balanced. They're like, you know what, go with the flow too. It's not just about like, I stay here and I never leave, like a moray eel or something, where it's like, this is my cave and I defend it, South Node in Scorpio. Shadow of the moon in Virgo, where it's like, I have a way and I'm not going to budge. It's like, well, does your way have love? And if it does, bravo. And if it doesn't, temper that shit out. Use the fire of your heart and the fire of your spirit, the love, to move forward in the world. Most have propulsion systems made up of rapidly oscillating fins, and they use the current to get to place. They have no teeth and suck up their food. One of the most famous things about seahorses is their reproductive cycle and the high involvement of the male in rearing their young, right? So it's both men and women. It's a tempered marital situation. It's equality. It's not just like, oh, here, I gave you my baby and now you're the mom and I go to do whatever. Seahorses have elaborate courtship rituals that can last for many days prior to actual mating. Moon in Virgo, Venus in Pisces. When they are ready, the male opens his brood pouch, which contains the sperm. And this is some alien actions, right? Mars in the last degrees of Aquarius. It's like, this is some bizarre, weird stuff. The female deposits her unfertilized egg into his pouch, and the pouch closes. The eggs are fertilized, and the baby seahorses grow within the male's brood pouch, protected by him. His pouch makes him look quite pregnant. When they are at sustainable ages, between 5 and 2,500 little seahorses are ejected from the pouch, right? So the circle of life continues, which is this temperance card clarifying, but they have a little plan, even though it's an elaborate mating ritual, these seahorses. They're not just like, it's not, there's a design to it, Saturn in Aquarius. And they're individuals, Sun in Aries, but there's a reciprocity and a responsibility that the male has that is atypical. Moon in Virgo, trining Saturn, and Uranus and Taurus. Extreme kind of reality. The magic, which is why we're all here. Like most ocean-based elemental magic, the keys here are flow and fluidity. And because Mars is about to enter Pisces, Venus is already there, Neptune is conjunct Jupiter in Pisces, flow is what's up. Notice how she's walking on water, I guess. Yeah, she's walking on water. Like, we can flow. Even this guy is in a state of flow. It's like magma, hot earth, fiery earth. It's like, it's not sitting still like a stone. He's moving forward like expansion of a volcanic, magma. That's the heart. The heart has to expand in reality. However, seahorse magic can be best utilized around issues of equality. If you want to be seen as an equal or you're being discriminated against in sex, race, or status, you can ask for help of seahorse energy and receive balance and justice, or a tempered resolution to the situation, right? Symbology: seahorse head, seahorse pulling a chariot, beautiful sea goddess with the seahorses. Status: there are 43 seahorse species, which is crazy, the majority of which are vulnerable or endangered. So we need to be a little more discerning in terms of how we treat, or how we act in a tempered way in the reality. Hopefully we're not just like throwing out trawls of sea nets and catching up all these seahorses and killing them en masse. Let's be a little more loving and kind towards our ecological reality. We are the world we find ourselves in. As Carl Jung said, we're the soup in which we're cooking, and that's an alchemical kind of high language, but that's also an ecologically accurate depiction of evolutionary reality. In terra firma, in Gaia, as they say, and beyond, probably. I can't speak to our relationship to Arcturus or Andromeda, but that's it. So, oh my gosh, this is some Earth trine stuff, right? Oh my God, I didn't make the plan. I've got to come up with a new plan. Oh, I didn't see this coming. Uranus and Taurus, North Node and Taurus. I had a plan, and Uranus and Taurus. It's gone awry. Pluto and Capricorn. Your world is going to die here. Like, you can't go forward. The way is, you cannot pass. You shall not pass. So, I'm rambling, 39. And is as follows. Hindrance. And the only way to get through hindrances, Aries Sun, Virgo Moon, is like, use your head, take your time, be patient, use temperance, right? Find equal solutions and things, but coming from your heart. If you don't use your heart, you're just going to get flipped out and bug out and like either run off in anger or, do something stupid. So the hindrances have not built up overnight, even though it may seem like it now, right? So there's issues, but they're not like, oh my gosh, how this happened. It's like, read the writing on the wall. They are part of the path you have followed and need to be overcome before before things progress once more. Don't try to evade them, nor should you impetuously run into battle against them, right? Aries Sun shadow, where it's like, don't just like act without thinking. Have a fucking plan. Knight of Pentacles. Reflect upon things and enlist support, right? Moon in Virgo, Saturn in Aquarius, Mars in the last degrees of Aquarius. Think about things, see how it works, and then get the help of others. I just watched this interesting little anime the other day, and some guy was saying, like, asking for help is a form of honor. Like, there's honor in that too. It's not a sign of defeat. It's a sign of humility, which is loving yourself well, right? An experienced person who is capable gives you the necessary help. Become conscious of the fact that many of your external difficulties have inner causes, as within, so without, as without, so within. So why lay the blame at the feet of other people or on fate? The cause, this is very, earth trine. It's like, it's your fault. You did this. You reap what you sow. The cause of your problems is found in you yourself. Aries Sun, Virgo Moon. It's like, you have not been steadfast with your due diligence, and you will suffer the consequences. Use the external standstill brought about by the obstacles to build upon your own character. This way you transform the difficulties into virtues. The experience will strengthen you and bring happiness. North Node and Taurus, right? So we're moving towards beautiful things, but that doesn't mean, maybe we've been imbalanced, right? We haven't been tempered. We've been like all play and no work, or all work and no play. And we have to come into this kind of combinatorial place of, I am moving forward in reality and earning somehow income or keeping my value, like I'm doing work stay here. So it's like, exchange of energy, right? Equal exchange, equality. But there's things in our lives, whether they're addictions or codependence or obstacles of the mind, like, oh, I can't do this, I won't do this, I shouldn't do this. All the NT, I used to call my brother NT man because he'd always come up with the negation of the situation and be like, oh, let's just go anywhere. And he's like, no, that's not possible. Well, that's a hindrance. And those serve a purpose too. Ganesh is the god in Hindu mythology that puts obstacles and removes them. It's both and. So the obstacles are there as part of your journey. They're not problems, right? And the sooner we see them as things to overcome through our journey as a fiery soul in this earth Tao thing, the more balanced we'll become and the more equal we'll treat ourselves and others. Like, we won't just be a victim, right? We'll be coming from the heart and saying, hey, everybody's on a weird trip and everybody's got different issues. My struggles are not your struggles, but we're all struggling. And at the same time, there's beauty and joy and music and love, and so it's this Earth trine, but there's also Jupiter conjunct Neptune and Neptune in Pisces. God, I can't speak. So let's get a stone. Who wants a pop? We got this puppy. Green calcite. So you can quantumly entangle with this. You don't have to actually own it, but plus 5 points if you do own this. Green calcite, what it is, green calcite is the emo honest to a fault, which can be Virgo, issues, Mercury and Taurus, honest to a fault. Green calcite is the emo, honest to a fault, believes in storybook endings, tree hugger of the calcite family. Very Venus and Pisces, Jupiter conjunct Neptune and Pisces. Who needs it? Anyone who finds themselves lost in the forest of doubts without a map, and Libras, right? And we're getting equality. That's if you're imbalance, if you're a Libra out of balance, or if we're not tempered, right? Anybody lost in the sea of possibility, and trust me, I'm there right now. We've got to start making some actionable plans, knowing how to be in this world. Therefore, the hindrances kind of remove themselves. Oh, cool, Haley. She got Rhino, and it says overcoming any obstacle. Hold on. The day is progressing, and that's the biggest truck set I've ever seen. So I guess there's a harvest coming on or something. So who needs it? Anyone who finds themselves lost in the forest of doubts without a map. Libras, where to put it? Against your chest, i.e. your heart chakra. Can't make this shit up. Against your chest, when making important decisions, right? Mapping out the plan of your life, making those decisions, because it is about action, Aries Sun with Virgo Moon plans. So when you're making your decisions, put this against your chest regarding important decisions, how you want to spend the finite, precious time you have on Earth. Can you say it any louder? Grand Earth Trine. When to use it? When your heart is asking for something, but la 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 la, you aren't listening. Right? When your heart is wanting something, but you're not paying attention to how to even get that accomplished. The heart wants what it wants, heart chakra. The mind wants what it thinks the heart should want, Virgo Moon. It's very practical. It's like, well, this isn't how you do it. It's like the heart's like, I want to fly. And Virgo Moon is like, that's impossible. Somewhere in the middle is the answer. It's like, well, if you use the telemetry of aerodynamics and do this, Da Vinci made a helicopter. Wow, right? So you can fly, but it's got to be practical. See what I mean? It's a balancing right now of all this earth energy with the Grand Earth Trine. Your thoughts are grounded and practical. The destiny of the earth and people and everybody, North Node and Taurus, is about practical value, like what's going to work. Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn is like, we got to change the world. Uranus and Taurus is saying we got to revolutionarily change our approach because we're killing ourselves and not happy about it, and everything is suffering more than it probably could and should. But at the same time, we've got Venus, Mars almost in Pisces, Neptune conjunct Jupiter and Pisces. So it's like, I want to fly. I want to be a poet. It's like, all right, well, are you putting the pen to paper? How many poems have you written? Some are good, some are bad. Have you published any? See, it's both. Like this is a dreamy stone, but it's still embodied. So the heart wants what it wants. The mind wants what it thinks the heart should want. Call on the energy of green calcite to nudge that push and pull in the heart's favor. This says, live out your heart's desires. And on a heart chakra day, I think what we really need to do is be wise. You don't want to just jump into the fire without a parachute or whatever, jump out of the plane without a parachute, but do make moves, right? Make moves that are equal steps. So it's like practical, dreamy, both and, right? In a tempered way. And you will overcome any obstacle. Whether it's how do we defeat the Nazis, or how do I, get out of poverty, or how do I attract a mate, or whatever it is, right? How do I get online and get seen by people, whatever. You can find solutions as long as you're living out from your heart, your desire, in a grounded, practical way, in a balanced way, in an equal way, head and heart. Actions moving through the heart knowing what actions are going to hurt it or help it. So hopefully we're all going to live in our hearts well on this Thursday. We've got Devin Dewar coming on the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. She's an angel intuitive. That should be fascinating. So check that out. If you've enjoyed this, leave a tip, obviously, or hit me up for a reading. I've only got 5 stars, so you'll get quality. $33 for an hour of cards like this. 3 hours of astrology for $88. And $111 for both, which is an extremely good value. Trust me. Ask anybody who's gotten a reading. They're all like, oh my God, you're so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's like, it's a lot of fun. It's part of how I move my kingdom forward through helping others, right? In a tempered way, in a balanced way. Like, it's fun to do magic for me, but I want to help y'all get through your blocks. And that makes me feel like I'm coming from my heart, right? More, and I'm helping out and really making the dream better, as opposed to just being like, well, how can I save money and spend it? It's like, that's not why I'm here. Yes, money's real, and yes, things have value, but it's like, I'd rather help people have fun and play music and do cool shit and tell jokes than count my shekels. So, Like I said, check out the podcast, Holler for readings, leave a tip if you feel so inclined, like, share, subscribe, whatever, tag a person who maybe would benefit from this, and I hope you take it to heart, what I've said today. It's not bad to dream, but that dream has to have a capsule, right? Like the dream is like, I want to get to the moon. And it's like, well, do you have a rocket? Do you have fuel? Do you have the right math to even get out of the fucking Earth's atmosphere? Presuming that's even possible. Van Allen radiation belt. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy your Thursday, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Adios.